can you feel it? Nothing can save ya, cause this is the season of funky behavior. I came to relax your mind, you can recline. On what? On this here rhyme. I like the style, I'm staying for a while. It helps me show cats that I'm versatile. I'll touch your dial, turn your frown to a smile. I'll make you feel like you're having a child. So relax and open up, child. I'm about to make you walk what? Pimp style or pimped out style. You don't understand the logic. See, if you don't have it all, I'll take a deposit. I got shit for you, it's alright indeed. It's like going to the garden and planting the seed. It might tickle for a second, but it won't bleed. So just relax, just hear a dope track. I'm just real nice, everything is real fat. You don't have to do work, we do that. It's the type of place where you can wear your hat. Just relax, and just hear a dope track. I'm just real nice, everything is real fat. You don't have to do work, we do that. It's the type of place where you can wear your hat. Your entertainment, at the same time edutainment. In other words, you could call it vent. What I'm saying is that I'm here at your service. It's hard work, but then again, I deserve this. I'm helping people enjoy their spare time. I'm like an instructor when I'm doing my rhyme. Relax and just hear the dope track. It's really not all that, it's not like a gag. We like that when everything is relaxed and chill. You don't have to get fucked up or take pills, cause I like being myself, it feels good. Yo, it makes my meals taste good. 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 So just relax. Everything is real bad. You don't have to do work, we do that. It's the type of place where you can wear your hat. Just relax and hear a dope track. I'm just real nice, everything is real bad. You don't have to do work, we do that. It's the type of place where you can wear your hat. Just relax. My mind state now balloon, it won't inflate. Just take the buzz, this much wiser.
Yo, we just getting warmed up for Karoline. Karoline, come out and play, yay. What's up, Karoline? You coming out to play? Hello. Yeah. I decided, what the heck? I need to hear her for a little bit go crazy. She's going to freestyle like Trump, you know, and she's going to come out adamant like, you this and you that and you, how dare you think about this president? My daddy syndrome. She's going to be defending her daddy real tough. So, you know, hey. But it's one thing to defend your daddy if it's actually your daddy. But in this case, it's Trump. And Karoline are going to defend him like, you know, wow. It's just what it is. Just what it is. I can't wait. We have no idea what she's going to talk about. I guess let's see here. What does it say she's going to talk about? She's going to talk about blah, blah, blah. Who knows? Let me see. Karoline, what you going to talk about? I have no clue. I'm here for the questions, not really the statements. The statements are going to be garbage, but I want to hear the press questions because I know that the press is going to be, you know, asking about Epstein files, going to be asking about Trump and Putin. You know, it's going to be lit today. And of course, she's going to be saying the president has already said it's a hoax. The president has already said it's a hoax. It's a hoax. It's a hoax. MV in the house. Donnie in the house. Who else is in the house, y'all? Come on. Let me see here. How many people we got watching it? Okay, we only got a few people right now. Let's see. That's okay. I just wanted to do a little impromptu. I got to stay up on the news too, so I figured, hey, let me get at it. Now, if I press this, okay. Let's see if I can do this. Come on, White House, get it together. Goddammit.
Yeah, sure. I'm just gonna sit right here.
Yeah, sure. I'm just gonna sit right here. All right, let's see here. All right.
Ready?
Uh-oh.
Mic check, mic check.
1 2
Testing.
1
1
2.
2 3. 1 2 3. Mic check, mic check.
Is
Testing.
this
1
is
2
this a
1 2.
DEI hire?
Testing.
by
1
the
2
White
3.
House?
1 2 3.
That's
Mic check,
amazing.
mic check. Testing. 1 2 3. 1 2 3.
I'm amazed.
Mic check, mic check. 1 2 3. 1 2 3. Testing, testing.
The White House has an actual DEI hire, according to MAGA. Must be a DEI hire. She's black. You know what I'm saying? That's the rule of MAGA. Anybody who's black, you just got the job because you're a DEI. That's how Biden was just giving out all his jobs. DEI, DEI, DEI. You know? When you're in the military and you got that job as a colonel, it was just DEI after 20, 30 years. Just DEI. You had it easy, DEI. You didn't earn it. That's MAGA talk for you. Nowhere else. I mean, you have to really be cocky and bold to put your stuff out there on Front Street like this. But it's really real. It's real. They do it. Oh my God. Somebody jammer said Trump is Trump is a living legend, all right, for all the wrong reasons. You know, Epstein, you know what I'm saying? 1,000 girls, you know what I mean? Honeypot scams, you know, Russian mafia, washing money, you know. Yeah, he's a legend, all right. He's also going to die a legend. For real, he's gonna die a legend, but that's not always good. But it's his life. He can do what he want with it. But no matter what Trump does, the bottom line is I'm an American citizen, and my family is from the beginning of the country, the founding of the country, not like Trump's. And the bottom line is I live outside of the U.S. I live in Denmark, where they have universal education and universal health care, and everybody pays into it. Union jobs, all that stuff, you know. People take home more money in their pocket after all of their expenses and taxes every month here than you do in the U.S. So I'm good. I mean, it was like that when Biden was in office for me while I was here, and it's like that while Trump is in office while I'm here. The only place it's not like that is in the USA. Oh well. Oh well. Oh, click the like button also. Share, subscribe. I'm in an impromptu right now. Matter of fact, let me just play a couple of tunes. Let me sit back and play a few tunes here. What happened with this? Oh, there we go. No. All right, let me try this one.
Looking for food, starvation, the recipe, people subdued. When the people you trust got it in for you. Deceit is the word of the day, and every clue, don't let it go. It's from the days of old. Time is up, but some still do not know. Can I make up my mind? Is it worth the dime? Do I have to take a minute just to make it mine? Life's never fair, but don't listen to the TV. Go out and take a listen to the streets with the people in the slums and the homeless bums with degrees and degrees sitting under.
Get off my nuts, dude. Nobody's hiding their face. I'm in natural light. It's called natural light in my crib, fool. I don't have to please you. Get off my jock if you don't like what I'm doing.
The retreat, it's not easy in the world for the poor man. The one that brought you to reality, see.
Hey, just because you're American don't mean you shit. For real. So just understand
They
that.
don't want
You're still on earth with everybody else.
you to know about the black sheep. Leaving 7 rows to the 12 families all around the globe with an ancient code. Is it really asking a lot to say it that old? Cause we sitting on the earth looking back at extinct.
And guess what? If your people weren't in the country you know, during the foundings of the country, the War of Independence, the Civil War, you shouldn't be crying about any debt that's owed to you. Period. A debt is not owed to you. Okay, not like that, you know. You may have fought in some wars, but some people fought in all the wars for the country, okay? If you think you deserve something, if you think you're special, then the people that's been there before you think they're even more special.
And I'm standing on some ground that's about to sink. I ain't scared for a minute, I ain't about to blink. But I documented for the world what I see.
And do you notice how pushy Americans are sometimes? When they don't get their way, they start getting violent, start threatening people. You see this? Just quit hiding your face. It's always about a threat. It's never about real communication, real problem solving. It's always about, I don't understand this, so let me threaten you into my opinion. Dude, you ain't going nowhere with that, John. You ain't going nowhere. You in the USA, bro. Keep that there. Keep that there where people accept that there.
On the call and up and we on the break. All Congress gonna do is waste paper and ink. Vote or die. You voted and you'll die. You can.
How many of the Republicans died in red states that voted for Trump during these storms? How many of them voted for Trump and died because of the lack of interest Trump has in global warming, global climate change? How many?
Can have it both ways. Can't
Nobody's counting.
say it's a lie.
I guess that means nobody cares.
You can march all you want, but they playing you wrong. They only understand war. It's the same old.
They want war.
They want war. All they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more. But they want to keep you low, so they manifest the war. All they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more. But they want to keep you low, so they manifest the war. Like the lotus coming out of the mud with colors. I create envy in those with power but jealous. I unify the poor with my song, the hell with the others. Descended the way they treat indigenous brothers, cause I understand we link forever. They try to hate us even though that we keep it together. I'm not talking about controlling the air or the weather. I'm talking about maintaining the truth, the high endeavor. A rebel drops bombs in the midst of trouble. The free world counterattack and now there's double. But nature gets the shit in the way to settle. If you stop the machines for a minute, you might hear. But they won't, cause the TV's whispering.
And John, if you stop threatening people for a minute, you might hear. You might
hear. And capitalism has eyes that don't fear. And they cloud up and get crazy and won't steer. And like an ab, it's hard to get an ass to listen. Living like this is like living in prison. It's hard to keep hope when you're living in prison. The spiritual thoughts, so yes, the mental prison. The outside, yes, it's got to get through. Something's gotta die, so something here can live. Your life is nothing if you got nothing to give. Keeping the spiritual, yes, disguised as religion. Controlling your mind, the mental prison. All they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score.
Let me read some of the chat. It said, Trump looked so old yesterday, yet so childish in his brain, dementia. Look at the Russian bot accounts. First name, last initials, 4 numbers. Only watch Karoline if you want the whole truth and nothing but the truth. Nah. Okay. But, oh my God. Oh. Sleepy Joe. Oh, people on some. No, but Sleepy Joe also had dementia. You see how MAGA folk are. You point out how screwed up Trump was, and the best they can say is, but Sleepy Joe was also. But the Democrats did this, but Obama did that. That's like they just keep saying that over and over and over. It's crazy. It's crazy. That's how you know it's bots. That's what dude is saying. Look at the Russian bots in the chat. Exactly. You pro-Trumpsters are actually delusional and sad. Really, I feel bad for you. True. Look at the Russian bot accounts in the name. Yep, it's true. Damn, everybody's noticing that. America is cooked with this loser president. That's Max. Yep. Yeah. Damn, so much whining and bigly. Oh my God. Oh, somebody in the chat, glory to Russia, we will win, because that's really who MAGA is, Russians. Glory to Russia, we will win. Glory to Russia, yeah. It's a lot of bots in here. Glory to Russia. All the Russians are up in Trump's joint right here, man. It's crazy. What about it? Yeah. Look, they are in. Oh, y'all. Maybe y'all. Can y'all see it in the chat? Yeah, you can see it there. Oh, and somebody got ice, baby. Yeah, okay. Ice. Yeah. Glory to Russia. Damn, glory to Russia is all over the place. Notice how MAGA people want to deport everybody except Russians. That's very interesting. All right, hold on. I guess we gotta wait a little bit more for Karoline. So let's jam out a little.
Don't want you to know about the Black Sea, leaving 7 roads to the 12 families all around the globe with an ancient code. Is it really asking a lot to say it that old? Cause we sitting on the earth looking back at extinct, and I'm standing on some ground that's about to sink. I ain't scared for a minute, I ain't about to blink, but I documented for the world what I see and think. Feel we on the call and up and we on the brink. All Congress gonna do
is waste paper and ink.
Vote or die. You voted and you'll die. You can have it both ways, can't say it's a lie. You can march all you want, but they playing you wrong. They only understand
war is the same old song. They want
war. All they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the more, and then you know they want more. But they want to keep you low, so they manifest the war. All they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the more, and then you know they want more. But they want to keep you low, so they manifest the war. Like a lotus.
And you know what? This thing, you notice how John is like, stop hiding your face. John, you maggots need to learn how to stop telling other people what to do with their own bodies. This ain't slavery anymore. Get off of that. Control your own body. That's all you have the right to control. You don't have the right to control me. You don't control me. And if you ever try to force control on me, I will stop you if I have to pay my life for it. It's never going to happen. That's your life. You live where people force you to live your life the way you live it. I'm free, bro. I'm free.
And they cloud up and get crazy and won't steer. And like an ab, it's hard to get an ass to listen. Living like this is like living in prison. It's hard to keep hope when you're living in prison. The spiritual thoughts, so yes, the mental prison.
Oh, Karoline, come out and play, yeah.
So something here can live. Your life is nothing if you got nothing to give. Keeping the spiritual, yes, disguised as religion. Controlling your mind, the mental prison.
War.
All they really want is a war.
Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the war, and you know they want more.
But they want to keep you low, so they manifest the war. All they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the war, and then you know they want more. But they want to keep you low, so they manifest the war.
Oh, hell yeah, Bill Jones, welcome. No problem. Yo, everybody, any person with a rational brain, regardless of color, we all the same. You know what I'm saying? Everybody with a rational brain, regardless of color, we all the same. Regardless of ethnicity, we all the same. Smart is smart, dumb is dumb. You know what I mean? So I thank you, Bill. Appreciate it. And nobody should have to live in any type of shame because of their color or their ethnicity. Nobody should. But that's exactly what we up against, because these MAGA people think that that's what they're going to put everybody through. That's exactly what they think they're going to put everybody through. They done lost their goddamn minds. Yeah, bars, Donnie, for real. It's crazy, man. It's crazy, bro. They got some nerve, man. It's always a threat. It's always a bully. You know, they always come with that stuff. And hey, all I can say is he who has the last laugh laughs best, and the last one is far from it yet. So we all letting them go and screw around, mess with everybody, make their message to America and Americans very clear that it's about hate. It's not about fairness. It's not about respect. It's not about anything. It's about one party wants to be hateful and stupid for the purpose of robbing and stealing from everybody else in the country. They want to distract people through promoting hate. That's just it.
Deceit is the word of the day in every crew. Don't let it go. It's from the days of old. Time is up, but some still do not know. Can I make up my mind? Is it worth the dime? Do I have to take a minute just to make it mine? Life's never fair, but don't listen to the TV. Go out and take a listen to the streets with the people in the slums and the homeless bums with degrees and degrees sitting under a tree. It's not easy in the world for the poor man, the one that brought you to reality. See,
would think Karoline is a star. She got people waiting for her like it's damn Beyonce or something. Yo, what the heck? It's like, how long is it gonna take her? I guess they scared, bro. They scared to come out. It's been a hot week. It's been a hot week for Karoline. So they basically are like, she don't want to come outside, bro. She don't want to come outside. That's what it is. I mean, and I understand that because it's been hell. The news media has said that she looked very, very strange at that Russian meeting, like, like a deer staring into headlights. So we're gonna find out how she comes out today. She might come out today, trying to play it all off like none of that. That's all a hoax. That was just a hoax, just another Russian hoax. Okay, that's what everybody expects. Nobody expects lying Karoline to tell the truth about a damn thing, especially about anything Trump inspired. So, but it's worth the opportunity to look in her face just to see. How many times are you willing to look in the American people's face, look them dead in the eye, and lie to them? Is it going to be, what day is this? How many days they've been in office? That's how many days it is, They're going to come out with the worst lies to try to cover up this scandal. And it's like, that's what they do. They hate people. They hate the USA. And when you hate people, that is how you treat people. You just lie in their face like they're scum of the earth. And that's basically what I expect from Karoline, And I feel sorry for a lot of Americans because Americans have to live under this type of reign. This is not the reign of Joe Biden. This is the reign of Trump. This is a different type of thing going on, and, as much as you might want to say it was the same under Biden. Oh, wow. In so many ways, you have to be so delusional. You have to be so delusional because Biden didn't invite Elon Musk into the Treasury Department. Biden damn sure didn't send Biden sent FEMA to help the natural disasters. If you have a memory, if you have any type of memory of a red state during Biden, you got a tornado, Biden sent the money. Your grandparents' house, your parents' house got flooded out, Biden sent the money day one. All types of shit. Fires, Biden sent the money day one. Anything. Trump ain't sending the money day one. Trump is withholding the money day one. Trump is shaking down even red state governors before he even send them the damn money. How can you call that the same? And if you think that's the same, you deserve to get your ass beat again. You deserve to go through it again if you think that's the same. If you're so stupid that you think Biden and Trump handled FEMA the same, natural disasters the same, you actually deserve to go through it again. You deserve it because it's you stupid people that make it possible. Nobody else can make it possible. It's like dealing with the vampire. It's like dealing with Dracula. You have to say yes before he can come in your house. And you stupid MAGA people said yes. And that's what you got. You got a violent criminal thug, who ain't going to send you your own tax dollars back. That's what you got. He ain't helping you in FEMA. That's what you got. And as long as you keep trying to say, well, Biden did the same thing, then it's never going to get better for you. Where's Karoline at? Karoline. All right, well, Karoline's not coming right now, so let's see what else we can find here. Let me check something out here. Let me see how this one sounds. Yo, y'all can get this on YouTube or iTunes or Spotify.
I know how to see a whack MC when he bustin', but I just back away real cool, no fussin'. I'd rather go kicking in the streets with the bums than use the knowledge to collect what? Some funds. Open a non-profit and build a damn school. And this is the story of how a great king rules. There's many that claim to know the local demographic, but don't have the nerve to tell you the truth. It's tragic, but I do, so sit back and let me spit this shit to you. You feel better when I spit this shit to you. Despite the system trying to clamp down on the people will learn how to stand up to evil. Not evil that's across the globe us too far. But evil that lies in their own backyard. And fighting, it's not an option, they can't win. The government, it's not supposed to represent sin. But then again they do, and that's a problem. So let's go down and figure out how to solve them. It's not fun being a rapper that can't speak, but we do, yes, and plus we make fat beats. Yo, we smoke.
Oh yeah. Yo, y'all can get that on iTunes. You can get it on Spotify. You can get it on YouTube Music. Yeah, you can get it, stream it, add it, throw it. It's empirical. That LP is called Madness or Love. It's called Love in Madness. So if you into soulful hip hop, clever, witty hip hop with a message, then check it out. Empirical. Love and Madness.
Won't you come step with me? I'm on a historical journey, kinda like Sigourney. Implore me to represent the attorney that represents my niggas. Go figure, it's the card. They call me Uncle Bigger. Niggas love your blunts, down your liquors. I read the parallel to the fiction. You fixated on this brother's nature. Relaxed behavior, I might save you. Change, flip it, rearrange. The whole concept, yo, is good for all your brain. Insane, psychotic, neurotic, black onyx, and hooked on phonics, just atomic, beats like a bonnet, cut with the AC.
Damn, she got a serious intro coming. It's like, how long is this gonna take? Let me see. How long is the stream by streaming? Does it even say? No, I don't see it on this one. But yeah, Sednator. That's what we have to do. We just gotta wait for her to pop up. Yeah, that track is called Prairie Dogs. That's the Ultra remix. Then I got one called the Magnetic remix, which is more similar to the original.
Prairie dogs, we keep it on the down. Splatter, don't like none splatter. We try to climb the ladder, wicked men get better. They make it like splatter, but it really don't matter. Cause you know we coming back to our sons and our daughters. To follow him, the one who protects ya. And the mother, she will never neglect ya. The divine nature, the people respect ya. And in this way I deliver my lecture.
Karoline ain't ever coming out. She's not. Look. This is this. I don't know. Is this typical? The typical wait? They were already waiting before I went live. So is that typical, y'all? What you think's going on back there? Exactly. Karoline be hiding. What the? Karoline, stop hiding your face. John says, stop hiding, Karoline. Stop hiding your face, Karoline. Please. Come on. Donnie says, Karoline be hiding. Yes. She be hiding. That's for real. That's what they know her for. Lion hiding Karoline. Oh, well. I mean, at least you could enjoy how she comes out and lies in somebody's face. I mean, it's very funny because everyone knows it's going to be lies. And everyone knows she's just going to do it anyway. And she knows everybody knows it's lies. And, you know, it's like, damn. I think something's real bad in that White House right now, bro, to be honest with you. I think the meeting with Putin, I think that really shook a lot of people inside of that cabinet. And I think they got just heard. Sometimes it's not the direct words that you hear. Sometimes it's just some other things that kind of allow you to fill in the gaps that may not be so obvious to everybody. But if you're around long enough, you kind of hear enough, something slip out here and there. And I think that was one of those moments because anytime you hear Fox News and MSNBC commenting on the same event like that, that means there's some, in my view, it means there's something there for real. And that's what happened. All the commentary about that meeting with Putin, people were saying some of the Trump people were shook. And Karoline was one of them. That's who they mentioned directly. And not only her, one other one. So we're going to see how it go. But personally, I would not suggest that anybody be involved with any espionage because it's a real serious matter. And you know, you can think you're taking a job for money, and then you find out what's going on in that circle is espionage, and you realize that you ain't gonna make it out because, you know, people get killed over secrets like that. You know what I'm saying? And the shit is real. What's going on with Trump is real. It's not a normal day in the White House. It is crime infested, mafia infested, espionage infested. It is a dangerous place to be. And so I feel for anybody that took a job and just thought, oh, wow, this person's a good person. And then after a while, you slowly realize, no, man, this person is exactly what people have been saying they are. I just didn't believe them because of how they looked or because of their political affiliation. Since it was liberals telling me dude was involved with Epstein, I didn't want to believe it. Since it was liberals saying, you know, saying Russia, 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 I didn't want to believe it because I hate liberals so much. I wasn't willing to really hear them. And I think she might got to the point. Maybe, who knows? Or maybe she just fuck it, down with it. Maybe she's just like, who cares? You know, give me my money. I'll be back tomorrow for some more. I don't give a damn about this country. You never know. You never know.
What's tomorrow?
Yo, I'm not sure about the algorithm of OBS, what's happening here, but maybe it's the time or something, or did I configure everything the right way? I'm not sure, but in any case, share the video, like the video. It's all good. I just came through. I wanted to do this little live one with you guys and do some more testing on the OBS, which I don't normally use, but it's good to use it a little just to make sure I'm fresh on it when I need it, you know. The thing I like about this system over the other system I'm using, Prism, is that, you know, I get to do things like this on it. You know, the screen overlay I get to do is much easier, the screen overlay aspect of it. And I can have multiple screen overlays, you know, and I can do the Chat GDP live. So that's why I like to do this one for certain events. But yeah, let me see something here. Let me try to see if I can get this one thing on too. Let me turn the music up a little bit until we get there. Come on, Karoline. Bring your ass out here. Come and spit your lies. Is it, oh, by the way, matter of fact, let me see.
Demographic, but don't have the nerve to tell you the truth. It's tragic, but I do. So sit back and let me spit this shit to you. You feel better when I spit this shit to you. Despite the system trying to clamp down on the people will learn how to stand up to evil. Not evil that's across the globe, that's too far, but evil that lies in their own backyard. And fighting, it's not an option. They can't win. The government, it's not supposed to represent sin, but then again they do, and that's a problem. So let's go down and figure out how to solve them. It's not fun being a rapper that can't speak, but we do, yes, and plus we make fat beats. Yeah, we smoke weed, break up trees. Listen, bringing fat beats, that is our mission. You wanted to see us, so boy, shut up and listen. Thelonious and Big Bennett, brother, check the vision. Mentalities of different realities. Into the Star Trek room when you hear the boom. I be the Walkman with the super bass. Automatic stop, yes, stereo cassette player. With the delayer, freaky lyrical sprayer. Extraterrestrial rhyme say.
All right. Did it start? It must be starting now, y'all. It's about to start. That's why the screen went black. Or did it? Or did something explode in the room? I don't know. But for real, anything can happen. Anything can happen in that place right now. I myself, I wouldn't even trust the Secret Service security, to be honest with you, because if you don't cooperate with them, they can't secure things as well. And these are some non-cooperating people, bro. They into all kinds of shit. Signal chat. They into like anything. They just don't follow norms and standards, you know, and that compromises their safety. It compromises everyone's safety around them too. They just have a tendency to breach security norms, and not uphold security norms. Excuse me. So I wouldn't even want to be around the White House right now, to be honest with you. I wouldn't want to be involved with the White House, with anybody involved with it, to be honest with you. Let me see. Okay, here they come. Let's go. Yeah, something ain't right, bro. I don't think so. Something is not right. Trumpstein. Okay, let's read the chat. 6 wards ended soon to be 7. Epstein files. Calling Honey Boo Boo. Somebody said calling Honey Boo Boo. Yeah, calling Honey Boo Boo. Caroline, we all here. Jeffrey Epstein, free Jeffrey. Somebody wrote free Jeffrey Epstein. Yeah, free the files. My nose is just fine. Damn. No, it ain't. No, it's not. Karoline, leave it. Damn. Look at the genocide of bottom left. Yeah, okay. Release the... Hold on, damn, the chat is going fast in this bad boy. Oh, here comes the BJ machine lips. Damn. Oh my God. Okay.
Good
well,
afternoon,
here she
everybody.
is, y'all. Let's go.
How are you? Good to see all of you.
We're doing fine. Thank you.
What we've witnessed President Trump accomplish over the last few days
here
has
we
been
go
nothing
again.
short of remarkable. We are now 3.5 years into the war between Russia and Ukraine, a brutal conflict that has claimed hundreds of thousands of Russian and Ukrainian lives and cost trillions of dollars. The weakness and incompetence of Joe Biden foolishly allowed the killing to start in the first place. Until President Trump returned to office in January, the bloody and broken Biden status quo was to endlessly force American taxpayers to fund Ukraine no matter the cost, no matter how long it takes, and no matter how many lives were lost.
You see the goalpost
There is no
move
denying
now?
that Biden's America Last foreign policy moved the world further away from peace. President Trump rejected that failed approach, and instead, over the last 7 months, has relentlessly pursued peace throughout his second term.
Trump the
And thanks to
peacemaker.
President Trump's efforts, we finally have movement after years of deadly gridlock. On Friday, as you all know, many of you were there, President Trump hosted Russian President Vladimir Putin in Anchorage, Alaska, for a bilateral meeting. This was the first time President Putin has been to the United States since 2015, and the first time he has met with an American president in years. President Putin publicly confirmed what President Trump has said all along. The war between
The elections were stolen.
have started in the first place if President Trump were in office.
So,
This
there we
was
go.
always
She's back with her
obvious to
just
any
lies.
person with a shred of common sense. Just look at what took place during the last 4 administrations. Under George W. Bush, Russia invaded Georgia. Under Barack Obama, Russia took Crimea. Under Joe Biden, Russia invaded Ukraine. But under President Trump, Russia did not invade nor take anything. President Trump is the only president this century,
just
Republican
bombed it
or
every day.
Democrat, who has held Russia in check and ensured peace in Europe. That's because Russia has always greatly respected President Trump and his peace through strength foreign policy.
This right now, Russia is bombing the hell out of Ukraine right now. And that meeting was about trying to stop that, trying to get an agreement to ceasefire so you can begin to negotiate. And she is pretending like they're not bombing Ukraine right now.
As you all know, there were many European leaders here, as well as Ukrainian president.
Just like she's going to pretend Israel's not killing Palestinians right now, kids right now, starving them out. She's going to pretend that too.
Across the board, every leader credited President Trump for his decisive leadership that has reignited the dialogue in hopes of finally bringing this war to a peaceful conclusion. Two quotes in particular capture the progress that was made and the optimism moving forward. Finnish President Alexander Stubb said, "I think in the past 2 weeks, we've probably had more progress in ending this war than we have had in the past 3.5 years. Again, that is the president of Finland that shares a border with Russia. That's what we call the President Trump effect. NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte also summed it up well. Without President Trump, this deadlock with Putin would not have been broken. He is the only one who could do this."
So there's no deadlock with Putin still. Okay.
Yesterday, President Trump spoke with President Putin by phone, and he agreed to begin the next phase of the peace process, a meeting between President Putin and President Zelensky, which would be followed, if necessary, by a trilateral meeting between President Putin, President Zelensky, and President Trump.
So three more meetings before the bombing stops.
Secretary Rubio and Special Envoy Witkoff will continue to coordinate with Russia and Ukraine to make this happen as soon as possible. It's very important to remember that before President Trump's landslide victory last November, there was no end in sight to this bloodshed. Now
there's still no end in sight.
End of the tunnel and an opportunity for lasting peace. That's because President Trump is the peace president.
Because you say so.
Back on the world stage. It should not be lost on anyone in this room that world leaders are coming right here to Washington, D.C. for help. While previous presidents have traveled halfway around the world to apologize for America, President Trump stands up for America, and he has firmly restored America's status as the undisputed leader of the free world.
By doing what? Nothing? Just doing what? What did you do? Undisputed leader of the free world. Okay. So you bombed Iran, and that's it. That's it. What did you get out of bombing Iran? Like, it's ridiculous.
In the pursuit of peace. Initially, the media ridiculously claimed that President Trump was somehow beholden to Russia for even agreeing to have a face-to-face discussion with President Putin inside of the United States. The media said President Trump was making a grave mistake by, quote, legitimizing Putin. They were aghast that President Trump would treat another world leader like a world leader. The media relentlessly attacked President Trump and claimed he suffered a, quote, major defeat for not immediately emerging with a final agreement, even though he said heading into that meeting, this was a meeting to listen and to understand how to move the ball.
You could have done that over the phone.
Following those historic U.S.-Russia bilateral talks, we listened to clueless pundits on television trying but failing to claim that the president had failed. The so-called
They kicked out the media. What is he talking about? We went there to talk. We had to have that meeting to talk. You could have had that meeting over the telephone. You didn't even want to answer questions to the media. What did you tell people you were going there for?
Months about peace. This is the same president, by the way, who brokered the Abraham Accords in his first term, on top of more than half a dozen other peace deals this year alone, as I just said. We also saw yesterday the president of Ukraine and all of the other major leaders of Europe fly across the Atlantic Ocean to meet President Trump at the White House because of the progress that was made, and that, if you ask the media, failed meeting, but it was not. It was highly productive and it was successful. This is why Americans' trust in the mass media is at a lowest point in more than 5 decades. Diplomacy is a delicate process, and instead of reporting the facts about what is happening here at this White House and what is happening between this
The facts is you ain't get shit accomplished. You made everyone distract from the Epstein files for what? Nothing?
Peace. That is why I felt the need to set the record straight. In other news, on the home front, President Trump's efforts to make D.C. safe again are working. There have been a total of 465 arrests since the start of this operation on Thursday, August 7th. Last night, there were a total of 52 arrests, including the arrest of an illegal alien MS-13 gang member with convictions for DWI and drug possession. Thanks to
Everybody is an MS-13 when they're Hispanic or they're an illegal.
dangerous gang members.
What did the other people get arrested for? She don't even want to tell you. You know, you got arrested for drinking on your porch.
Assault with a deadly weapon for stabbing, parole violation for robbery, murder, outstanding warrant for attempted murder, assault on federal law enforcement officer, and felony assault. 4 more homeless encampments were also removed during yesterday's reporting period. To date, a total of 48 homeless encampments have been.
So are you going to fund shelters, homeless shelters? Are you going to fund homeless shelters? Why do you think they're on the street?
And remove homeless residents off of Washington's streets. And despite fake narratives,
Basically criminalizing homeless people, at which if you send them to jail, you have to pay taxes for that, right?
of all of the non-illegal alien-related arrests have occurred in wards 7 and 8. The 2 wards that have the highest number of violent crime, as well as homicides and assaults with dangerous weapons last year. So while Democrats continue to coddle violent criminals, President Trump and this administration are focused on putting them behind bars and unapologetically standing up for the safety of law-abiding American citizens. And the White House will continue to provide all of you with the results of this operation in the days ahead.
Because we didn't want to release the Epstein files.
Today we have Jack Posobiec, who joined us in Anchorage, Alaska last week. Jack, thanks for being here. Why don't you kick us off?
Karoline, thanks so much. So a couple of questions regarding the status of these peace talks.
All right, here we go,
Obviously, we saw the president and President Putin there in Anchorage. We saw the world leaders here yesterday with this summit. We've heard phrases like coalition of the willing. We've also heard Article 5-like guarantees. When it comes to the security guarantees, what is the current status of that? I know the president earlier today mentioned boots on the ground would be UK, France, Germany possibly, but unequivocally said no U.S. troops on the ground, but U.S. coordination. Can you elaborate on that, and what would the red lines be?
Sure. Well, you
Exactly.
got to the heart of what
More
I was
wars.
going to say to all of you today.
Trump involved in the war anyway.
The president has definitively stated U.S. boots will not be on the ground in Ukraine, but we can certainly help in the coordination and perhaps provide other means of
So you can help coordinate a war effort. Interesting, but no more wars, huh?
Are
I thought you just said
crucially
no more wars.
to ensure a lasting peace. And he has directed his national security team to coordinate with our friends in Europe and also to continue to cooperate and discuss these matters with Ukraine.
How you going to sell weapons to the EU and say you're not involved in a war? That's some. What is this? In the same breath, you sell weapons. You tell people you're selling weapons to the EU, but you're not going to be involved. And then in the next breath, you say you're not involved in any war, but you sell weapons to the people involved in war. This is like
In Anchorage, Alaska, again yesterday with the Europeans and President Zelensky, and he has directed his team to come up with a framework for these security guarantees
Philip.
that can be acceptable to help ensure a lasting peace and end this war.
And then just last question real quick on this. Regarding some of the funding, we're hearing questions about another round of weapon sales or possibly a round of U.S. purchases
Exactly.
of Ukrainian drones.
Exactly.
Will that money be funded by the U.S. taxpayers? Are we finally going
Look
to
at
see
her
an
face.
end to the U.S.
Look at her face, because she knows dude just asked her a question. She's busted. They're up there weapons dealing with the Ukrainians, and she's talking about Trump is not involved in a war. No, these people are involved in double tongue speak, split tongue, snake tongue. That's what they are involved in, and they're involved in that with everything they say about anything and anybody.
taxpayer-funded, seemingly endless mandate for these foreign wars?
Well, the president is very sensitive to the needs of the American taxpayer, and immediately upon entering office back in January, he made it very clear that we're not going to continue writing blank checks to fund a war very far away, which is why he came up with the very creative solution to have NATO purchase American weaponry, because it is the best in the world.
Look, why are you a member of NATO? Why are you a member of NATO? Why do you continue to be a member of NATO? I mean, NATO is involved in a war. It's that simple. NATO is funding a war right now. And Trump and the United States are members of NATO. What the heck is this?
and then to backfill the needs of the Ukrainian army and the Ukrainian people and their military. So that's the solution the president has came up with.
That's like saying the U.S. ain't involved in a war in the Middle East. We're not involved in that war. That's just the Israelis and the Palestinians, the Israelis and the Iranians, just them. What about that war?
We'll continue to see that forward. As for any additional sales, I'll have to defer you to the Department of Defense.
Thanks so much.
Thanks, Jack. Kelly.
What has President Trump learned that tells him that Vladimir Putin would be willing to make a deal for him, for President Trump?
Well, the president has learned a lot, which is part of the reason he opened up this dialogue. The previous administration, who oversaw the beginning of this war, refused to talk. And President Trump has always said, in order to learn, in order to move the ball forward with diplomacy and towards peace, you have to have open dialogue. And so that's why the president has had several
That's why he threw out the red carpet.
conversations by phone and, of course, an in-person meeting last Friday with President Putin. He also has talked to President Zelensky dozens of times, had him here at the White House yesterday, and he's
Yeah, cursed him out, dissed his family, talked about his mother behind his back.
understanding what both sides want, what both sides are going to have to give up. And he has always said, in order to get a good deal, both sides are going to have to walk away a little bit unhappy. So he continues to learn a lot throughout these
What the? No, duh. No shit, Sherlock. That's not genius. What the? In order for there to be the deal, both sides got to walk away. That is great. You invaded a country. They invaded the country. So everybody, when you invade the U.S., remember what Karoline said. She said, both sides got to leave with something and not being happy about. Just remember that. When you lose some land, the U.S., remember that. Don't complain about it. Just say, hey, man, it's the price of war. We want happiness now. Let's just give up Texas. Let's just give up New Mexico.
conversations, which is why we've seen progress from both sides.
Well, why do they even want Canada when that's how they look at shit? They want Canada to be another province, but they just gonna give it up. Well, in order for it to end, two people gotta have a good, both people gotta lose on both sides. You gotta give up something. Let's just give up Canada again.
And I would also just add, when it comes to learning and moving the ball forward, look at how both Russia and Ukraine have actually talked directly for the first time in many years, thanks to the efforts of this president and this administration.
Specifically for President Trump, though, what do you think Putin's motivation is to try to do something for President Trump, as opposed
Excellent question.
to just resolving the conflict?
I think, as I just spoke to in my opening remarks, Kelly,
And that is how Trump put it. Trump put it as if Putin would do something for him personally only because of their relationship.
Russia and all countries around this world actually respect the United States again. And the president is using the might of American strength to demand that respect from
It didn't look like Putin respected Trump at all.
our allies, our friends, our adversaries all around the world. And we've seen that not just lead to progress with Russia and Ukraine.
So basically, folks, it's over. The White House is about to crumble because these excuses, people aren't buying them anymore. It could work in the beginning, but it can't just be that way over and over and over and over. You have some sort of little manipulation explanation for why it wasn't the way that it looked to everybody else. They're relying on people to just be brainwashed or stupid. That's not enough.
But also we've seen it in the closing of 7 global conflicts around the world as well. We've seen it with the release of hostages in Gaza. You've seen it with the end of the conflict between India and Pakistan, which could have resulted in a nuclear war if we had not had a president who believed in the...
Hey, exactly. Look, yo, Philip. Exactly. But look, why are they talking about taking Canada if they just going to give up shit like, everybody got to leave with something a little unhappy? You know what I'm saying? If that's the approach with why even want more? Why want Canada? Why? It's crazy. Why even insert yourself into the conflict? Why not say, hey, we're out of the conflict. Let the EU handle it. Why not just say that?
strength and the leverage that comes with the job of being the President of the United States of America. Rachel.
Thanks, Caroline. Heading into Alaska, a lot of the focus in the talk was on...
The reason why Trump don't want to say he doesn't want to make a clear statement about it is because he's playing the middle. He is playing the middle. He is the one that's allowing the conflict to go on because he's trying to find out how he can manipulate the conflict to his own personal gain. Otherwise, he would make a clear statement and say the U.S. is leaving NATO. Boom, simple. If you don't need NATO, if you feel like you can do it by yourself, then why aren't you making moves? But it's because he wants to manipulate NATO for Putin. If he leaves, he can't manipulate NATO for Putin. That's what this is about.
On this trilateral meeting between these three leaders. Can you explain how this went from a trilateral meeting involving President Trump to now the focus being on this bilateral meeting without the president first?
Well, look, the president
Exactly.
has spoken to both leaders about this, and both leaders have expressed a willingness to sit down with each other. And so our national security team will help both countries do that. Ultimately, the president has always said that there are areas of disagreement in this war that will have to be discussed and decided upon by these two countries. And so he wants these two countries to engage in direct diplomacy. He's said that from the very beginning, which is why he's agreeable to the idea of having President Zelensky and President Putin get together. And I understand accommodations for that meeting are underway. As soon as we hear more details, we'll be sure to let all of you know.
And just a quick follow-up. We know as of right now there is no ceasefire in place. We've seen Russia continue its attacks on Ukraine.
Exactly.
What indications is the president getting from Putin that he wants to have this meeting with Zelensky soon?
Because he spoke to him directly yesterday.
And he expressed
So everybody's supposed to believe you want to have a peaceful meeting, and the way you show it, the way you show your indication of that is by launching more bombs than you ever have.
that
Haley,
rather than later.
He spoke to that directly yesterday.
Is that how that works for you, Caroline? If people just come and launch bombs at you, you think that's a sign of wanting peace? Okay.
And the president put that in his statement that he gave to all of you, the news media, knowing
I mean, this is just the Jedi mind trick shit going on.
you'd be asking following that conversation in the effort of transparency. Haley.
Hey, thanks, Caroline. You made clear note U.S. boots on the ground. Is the president considering U.S. boots in the air as a form of a security guarantee?
Look, that was something the president mentioned on his interview this morning. It is an option and a possibility. I won't certainly rule out anything as far as military options that the president has at his disposal.
Exactly, because Trump, he's just allowed to say anything, anytime. It doesn't even have to make any sense. How are you going to rule anything out of his mouth? It's not possible.
Let him do that. I can tell you he's definitively ruled out boots on the ground. Sure.
Thanks, Caroline. Just about the possible venue for the talks, can you confirm that Putin suggested Moscow as a venue for the bilateral talks? And if so, doesn't that...
I mean, and here's another interesting thing. Did Biden really have boots on the ground? Did Biden really have boots on the ground? I mean, in that conflict, there, U.S. troops in Ukraine fighting with the Ukrainians against Russians. And she's like making it seem like Trump, not wanting to have boots on the ground is like somehow a step forward, a positive change. When it's like, no, man, people been asking for the U.S. the entire time. And Biden refused to put him on the ground, but he didn't refuse to arm them, And even so, Trump is the one who actually criticized Obama for not arming Ukraine enough. And now they're sitting here talking about the opposite. It's like, so on one hand, you say Obama didn't arm Ukraine enough and should have, and then Trump got in power and really armed them. And now you're saying the opposite is what the game is all about. It's like
indicate that Putin is perhaps not serious about this, that he's suggesting a venue that there's no way that Zelensky is going to go to?
Look, I'm not going to litigate the private conversations between the president and President Putin, aside from what the president himself has already spoken on. But I can tell you there are many options that are being discussed by our national security team right now with both parties.
Oh, Scarface, you say watch the documentary on Israelism. Okay, I'll do that.
Can you give us an indication of where?
Israel's out of their damn mind right now. They just really they're just being so inhumane to the Palestinians, and but that's all I'm going to say about that. But everybody knows they've gone too far. But
I just told you we'll provide you details as soon as we can. Thank you for trying, though, Libby.
What the hell is? Thank you for trying, though. You didn't skip me up.
Caroline,
Babies are dying, and I'm still smiling because you didn't trip me up.
to ask about the National Guard troops. How is the White House coordinating with how they're being placed in D.C., what areas? And then also, how long should people here in the district anticipate the National Guard to be on the ground patrolling the streets?
I don't have a timeline for you, Libby, but we will keep you posted on that. I think the president, as you know, and this administration, he came to this briefing room with members of his cabinet to lay out the rationale and the reasoning for federalizing the National Guard here in Washington, D.C., and for our work with the Metropolitan Police Department to make our district safer.
The district didn't want you. They said they didn't need you. They were already making improvements, great improvements without you. Trump already admitted to that on camera in May month when he made his statement about the crime being down in D.C. and how he was congratulating people involved with it. Now they just flipped the script. And that's the thing, is the media supposed to go along with this? Is the public just supposed to let them flip-flop anytime they want and just act like they didn't just flip-flop on it? Everybody knows they didn't go to D.C. to help anybody with goddamn crime. First of all, if you want to help people with crime, what was the rush? Why didn't you want to work with the city on crime? Why didn't you want to accept the fact that they already asked for your help in different areas and you refused? That's the thing about it. See, they don't want to tell you all that Congress has refused to put enough judges, to hire enough judges. DC's a federal city. You need federal judges appointed by Congress. That's how it works. Even the state, the ones that are doing the what they call non-federal crimes, right? Even though it's a federal city, some of the crimes are non-federal, but all the judges are appointed, and this is by Congress. But Congress hasn't appointed judges in years, basically. So DC has been complaining about that because without judges, you can't prosecute. You get a backload, and then you can only handle the most serious cases when you catch them. You can't handle other ones. And that Congress not funding DC that way because it's their own tax dollars, by the way. They pay the tax dollars out. DC pays loads in federal dollars per person, per square foot, right? And it's like DC has had to change its own law and decriminalize some things because if you just keep bringing in people for petty shit like smoking weed, it's impossible to do anything because it will fill up the courts and you won't be able to spend any time prosecuting anyone else. And that's what they did to DC. It's the same thing with the educational system in DC. Same thing with everything, the transport system. It's these people constantly screwing it up, never listening to what the DC residents say, never listening to what the city council says, who does all the actual data and collection of the work, does all the research on the ground. They never do. They just want to come in and distract everybody and act like they're doing it out of care when really they're just going in to try to wreck people's lives.
We've seen violent crime has taken the lives of far too many residents here in our nation's capital, and the president wants to make it safe again. And as for the coordination efforts,
you can't make it safe without listening to the residents, without listening to the city council. You can't make it safe.
This interagency team,
it's just a show. The show will end at some point, and then all the other things will still be there.
Is meeting and talking daily. In fact, there's a meeting taking place right now in the West Wing with members of the interagency task force to continue to discuss not just the National Guard deployment, but also how we can continue to remove public safety threats off of the streets of Washington, which, as the numbers I just showed you prove, they are doing every single night. I will just reiterate.
Oh, yeah, Michael Baker. You didn't like that comment. But look, I'm not saying that there's not many different aspects to the Israeli-Palestinian, Iranian conflict. I've talked about it a lot. I need to do a show on that specifically. But my view is that it's all been a setup, and no side ever really cared about the Palestinians. Not Iran, not any other neighbor, no one, not Russia, not no one. Everyone is fighting over control for trade and the reason. And they say these things, they like to frame it differently because it allows them to maneuver better. But the truth is that nobody ever really gave a damn about the Palestinians. People supplying weapons never really gave a damn about the Palestinians. If you ask me, that's my view. And I think Netanyahu knows that and takes advantage of it. But the reality of it is that the two people that have the most responsibility for making peace are them. Nobody else can make peace for them. This has been going on for generations now, for almost 100 years now, almost 70, 75 years. So they need to talk differently to each other. That's my advice. Use some loving words, use some actions of respect. And the ones that have the most power have the most burden to do that for the least. That's my view.
465 total arrests and counting.
I'm not judging any of them, though. I'm not saying any of them are better or worse. I'm just saying this shit about Gaza and these kids, that's wrong. You can't be out there putting food and aid out there for kids to come and pick it up and then you shoot them. You know, they need to, that's bullshit, yo. That's not helping anything. That's just building more hate.
Since the start of this operation, I believe 11 or 12 days ago, I'll have to check the calendar, but those are pretty remarkable results. If not for this task force and their high level of coordination and the leadership of this president, there would have been 465 more violent criminals on the streets of this capital that you all live in every day. So I think we should...
She's not, now all the criminals that they arrested are violent. We've seen them arrest people that aren't even violent. We've seen how they treat people who are just holding cameras. Is that not a crime? I mean, how many crimes did they commit going into the city? Are they even counting any of those things as crime? No, they're not. They're not counting any of that stuff as crime.
I'll be very
That's the problem.
Grateful for that.
The local people of DC can only follow the local law. The federal people aren't even trying to follow the local law. You know, they're not.
Thank you, Karoline.
They're harassing people for smoking a cigarette on their porch. And then if somebody gets pissed, then they just beat them up, brutalize them, throw them in a car. And then they call them violent.
3 questions about the D.C. crackdown.
Sure.
First, I was wondering if you could clarify something President Trump said. He mentioned getting rid of the slums where criminals live. Was he talking about tents or permanent residential buildings? And then the mayor has expressed an interest in clarifying how much of a focus illegal immigration enforcement is as part of this crackdown. Can you say anything about that?
Sure.
And third, any preview on the beautification?
3 questions. I'll try to answer all 3 of them pointedly for you. First, when it comes to what you said and the president said, the slums of Washington, D.C., he's referring to the most dangerous communities.
The slums of Washington, D.C.? The slums of Washington, D.C.?
Communities, neighborhoods, and streets in this city where, unfortunately, violence has ravaged these communities and taken the lives of, again, far too many law-abiding D.C. residents. We know on July 5th of this year, just more than a month ago,
Try funding education. Try funding technical schools. Try funding public schools. You didn't want to fund public schools, so you made up some shit called charter schools. Then the charter schools didn't work. Then you made up some shit called something else, all in one city, just because they don't have a home rule and the right to do things how they want. How about you just fund the things you're supposed to fund? Come and cut the actual federal lands, cut the grass on the federal lands, maintain that, maintain some of the buildings, federal buildings. You know, it's like these people really, the United States of America Americans know very little about what it is to be a federal city. Most Americans do not live in a federal city or come from a federal city. They talk about it like the rules work the same as they do in a state. The funding rules do not work the same. The home rule does not work the same. You do not make the decisions you think are best. You have to comment on the things you think are best and then give those comments over to someone that has no clue what is going on for them to judge on a partisan basis in Congress. That's what you get in DC. So, hey, it didn't happen by itself, you know. Then secondly, DC has always had homeless. You know, this is so crazy. They at the same time they want to say they're locking up violent people, they're actually picking on veterans, people that have no home because the damn government doesn't even house veterans. It doesn't guarantee veterans housing. That shit is crazy. That shit is crazy. And it's loads of vets. You know how many vets are out there homeless? They came back from wars or went to have mental issues because of wars. Where's the help they're getting? If they can't work, if they're not really getting the type of help they need because people like Karoline and Trump don't believe in funding it, you know, thinks that the veterans are losers, they're going to be on the street. But what about other people also that have other issues? You know, they just make it seem like these people are lazy. No, these people have a lot of problems, you know, and just picking them up, picking their stuff up, throwing it somewhere else is not solving it. It's just pushing them somewhere else. And as soon as you're gone, as soon as you're out of the White House, they'll be right back because there was never any real solution made.
3-year-old beautiful young girl was shot and killed in her car with her family in one of these communities, which is why there
Look, see, they like to talk about black people when there's a problem. Little girl shot in the car in her own community. But when black people don't come from communities like that and they get jobs in the working force, then they're just DEI, 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 DEI. You just got lucky. You didn't work for it. You see, this is the bullshit gaslighting right here. You know, this is the bullshit gaslighting. What if the little girl who got shot was the grandchild of the general you just fired for being black? What about that? You see what I'm saying? You know, it's really pathetic, but they try this stuff and we just have to call it out every time. Nobody asked you to come. No one that lives in DC wanted you to come. There was no vote. There was no vote. They had no say. You don't care about them because you gave them no say. Period.
Has been a surge, despite what many of you have been falsely reporting. And I believe it was the Washington Post who put out a map claiming it to be fact-based when it was just based on, I don't know, accounts that they've heard on the street, not actual.
Right. Accounts that you heard on the street. They're all on TikTok. They're all on Instagram. They're all on camera. You know, they're all on camera. I seen it myself. You know, it's just sad. It's just sad because, like, again, police brutality is not a crime, apparently. And that's not a surprise because that's what Trump told these federal officers. He's going to back them up. That's it.
Statistics and data. So we went and reconfigured the numbers. And as I said, nearly half of all the non-illegal alien related arrests have occurred in wards 7 and 8 in the District of Columbia, where we know, excuse me, there's the highest rate.
Look, I'm telling you flat out, that's bullshit. Listen, you can go anywhere and find some criminality. The question is, who are you checking? You know, and that's the real problem. You might go to Ward 8 and find an illegal alien over there, but if you took your ass to the other ward where the rich people live, you would find some there too. They deliver pizza there too. Look, how are you going to arrest a pizza man of Venezuelan descent who had permission to be in the country in Northwest Washington, DuPont Circle area, which is not a poor area? Right? How are you going to arrest him there? And then all of a sudden in your mind, you like, well, this guy, why are all the other people, maybe people order more food in the other areas. What the hell? Maybe there's more carry out jobs, delivery jobs over there. I don't know. But if you don't go check in all the city, if you don't assume that white people, excuse me, white folk, but if you don't assume that they commit crimes too, you're not going to find any. And the problem with these people is they assume the black folk are all involved with the crime. So they go and they find some crime. Yes, there is crime in black neighborhoods. There's crime in white neighborhoods too in DC. There's crime all over DC, Maryland, Virginia, West Virginia. Don't you know they smoke methamphetamines in West Virginia? You're not going there. You know what I'm saying? People are shooting fentanyl in West Virginia. You're not worried about their life. You're not worried about their baby's life. You know, don't you at least want to ask them if you can come and help? No, they don't. They're not asking red states if they can come and help them do anything. They're not doing that. All these people are doing is going around trying to find some people that are not extremely, you know, who don't identify as white to go push around. That's all they're doing. There's nothing else to it. There's just absolutely nothing else to it. I mean, poor people have crime. If you go to poor neighborhoods in any state, you will see crime. If you go to West Virginia, where there's a lot of white people, you will see a lot of white crime. Why doesn't she care about the white crime? You know, it's ridiculous.
Rate of crime. So
they just want to demonize people. That's what it is.
Continue to do that. And what was your second question, Stephen?
Legal immigration, how much of a focus that is?
Yeah, look, I mean, the focus is to make DC safe.
How many black people was around Jeffrey Epstein? That was a hell of a lot of crime. Any black folk around Jeffrey Epstein? Have you seen one black person? One black person? No, there was mostly, I don't know if there were, but from what we see or hear, mostly white victims. What are they doing? Keeping it a secret. Who are the Johns involved? Who are the people that had sex with these minors or that abused these minors? Sounds like a lot of white people. That's not her interest. They're keeping it a secret. You see, so this is bullshit. So now they want to go find somebody who happens to be high or something, or someone who, it's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous, you know?
Been beautiful, and to remove public safety threats and violent criminals from our streets. If federal law enforcement, with the help of the
Yeah, sure, her throat is scratchy because she does lie.
Metropolitan Police Department, come across illegal aliens, of course, we are going to abide by this administration's policy of law and order, and we are going to remove illegal criminals from our nation's capital. They will be detained and deported, just like they are in every other community across the country.
They're not, though. And you know, and that's the thing about it. She has no data to report, just like they are in every other community across the country. She doesn't even have the data to show you that.
Kristen.
First question is, whose idea was it to change the next steps from a trilateral to a bilateral meeting?
It was an idea that evolved in the course of the president's conversations with both President Putin, President Zelensky, and the European leaders yesterday. And as you saw, Kristen, with all of those European leaders leaving the White House, including the NATO Secretary General, they all agree that this is a great first step. And it's a good thing that these two leaders are going to be sitting down together, and the president expects that to happen.
And how long is Trump willing to wait and operate in good faith for Putin to actually arrange?
I got a question. When can you guarantee the war will be over? When will they negotiate a truce? When?
A meeting before he intervenes.
Look, the president has put tremendous public pressure to bring this war to a close. He's taken actions, as you've seen, sanctions on India and other actions.
Look, this is bullshit. The Europeans don't want people invading European countries. They're requesting help to stop people from invading European countries. They have an ally or supposed to have a NATO ally called the US. So of course they're supposed to be working together on that, not just in Europe, but in other places, right? And all of a sudden, that's not an issue for a NATO member. Invading invading territories on Earth, that's not a NATO issue all of a sudden. So you can invade, even though Ukraine's not a NATO nation, right? You're allowed to invade. So you can invade people on your doorstep. That's what they're saying. So let me ask you this. If Russia invaded Mexico, would the United States like that? If China invaded Mexico, would the United States just sit back and say, oh, well, you know, hey, they're not a NATO neighbor. Mexico is not in NATO. And hey, you know, would they do that? Or would they see that as a threat to them? Which one do you think? Of course, the United States would see China invading Mexico as a threat to them, even if this president doesn't like Mexicans. He would still see it that way. It's the same damn thing with Ukraine. It's still a security issue. So basically, what you're seeing is a powerful country, the U.S., that has pretty good cooperation from its neighbors, doesn't really have a bad situation with their own neighbors cooperating with them, but yet they can't understand why others would want similar forms of cooperation around them. That just makes no sense. It's like hiding in plain sight. People are asking, I think, they ask some good questions, but they don't ask enough good questions, you know, to kind of get to the heart of what's going on, you know, and they just keep people going around in circles and circles and circles with the same kind of limited questions. I think, you know, I don't know if that's because they say don't ask this or don't ask that. I don't know what they do in this White House, but it seems like some critical questions aren't being asked.
As well, he's made himself very clear that he wants to see this war end, and he has scoffed at the ideas of others that have been raised that we should wait another month before any meeting takes place. The president wants to move, and he wants to bring this war to an end as quickly as possible.
Just a clarification on something you said earlier about Putin agreeing to the meeting. The Kremlin seemed to indicate that Putin did not firmly agree to a bilateral. Did he agree to have a sit down with just Zelensky on the phone?
I can assure you that the United States government and the Trump administration is working with both Russia and Ukraine to make that bilateral happen as we speak. Sean.
Yeah, but you ain't got no guarantees. So
the point is to get everybody on the same page. Why wouldn't Trump just take the call from Putin while the other leaders were in the room? He said it would be disrespectful to do that. But why is it disrespectful?
With all due respect, only a reporter from the New York Times would ask a question.
You hear that? With all due respect, only a reporter from the New York Times would ask that question. You see this, right? You see how whack that is, right? This is Karoline at her best gaslighting.
As you've seen, sanctions on India and other actions as well. He's made himself very clear that he wants to see this war end, and he has scoffed at the ideas of others that have been raised that we should wait another month before any meeting takes place. The president wants to move, and he wants to bring this war to an end as quickly as possible.
Just a clarification on something you said earlier about Putin agreeing to the meeting. The Kremlin seemed to indicate that Putin did not firmly agree to a bilateral. Did he agree to have a sit down with just Zelensky on the phone?
I can assure you that the United States government and the Trump
watch.
administration is working with both Russia and Ukraine to make that bilateral happen as we speak. Sean.
Hey, if the point is to get everybody on the same page, why wouldn't Trump just take the call from Putin while the other leaders were in the room? He said,
if the point was to get everybody on the same page, why wouldn't Trump just take the phone call from Putin when everybody was in the room? That's an excellent question.
it would be disrespectful to do that. But why is it disrespectful?
With all due respect, only a reporter from the New York Times would ask a question like that, Sean. The president met with all of these European leaders at the White House 48 hours.
That's the perfect question. That's the perfect question. How are you going to get on the same page if you're not willing to talk in the same room? It's ridiculous. They're not. That's not possible. Again, this is Trump running interference for Putin. That's all this is with Ukraine. Trump has only been a president to interfere on behalf of Putin regarding the Ukraine. It's just that simple.
After sitting down with President Putin on American soil. In fact, there was so much progress in the readout that was given to these European leaders immediately following his meeting with President Putin that every single one of them got on a plane 48 hours later and flew to the United States of America. And if I could just read for all of you some of the statements from those European leaders yesterday, you had President Zelensky himself.
Oh, look, they're going to pick. She's going to cherry pick now. She's going to pick out the comments that were designed to to gas up Trump. The same kind of shit that Putin does, the same kind of comments everybody has to make. The whole thing the media has reported is if you want to get Trump to do something, all you have to do is praise him a little bit. That's how you get to him. You praise him first. And now she's going to start talking about those things. So everybody knows, it's just been established. If you praise Trump a little bit, say, oh, what a great leader you are. I mean, did you hear how Putin was praising him personally, according to Trump? You see, and then you saw how well that worked. Trump was like in his emotions about the shit. Well, that's the same thing they're trying to do to get something out of Trump. Why? Because even though the EU allies can go to war with Russia, that's not going to help a whole lot of people. They could win a war easily with Russia, but it's going to be a bad war, and it's going to disrupt a whole lot of things on Earth. It could turn into a third world war. So they're not stupid because they're responsible leaders. They're saying, let's think for the best of our populations. Let's think about this very, very carefully. That's what they're doing. But they know things would be easier if they could get the U.S. on board. That's what this is all about, and they're responsible leaders. So they're asking. But when World War III breaks out because of Trump, because of his neglect, don't blame it on the EU leaders.
Saying it was a very good conversation. It was really good. We spoke about very sensitive points. The Secretary General, Mark Rutte.
Uh-oh. Damn. Got to go through that one? All right. Yo, I'm taking down this live once we're done. I just wanted to get together with you guys.
Who this war is in their backyard are very grateful that the president took that call and that he was there to provide them with a readout of Russia's thinking on this, something that was not done by the previous administration at all.
Look, do you think they trust anything that Trump says or any of the U.S. administration? They don't. They ask questions. They listen carefully. That doesn't believe they believe their bullshit. That doesn't mean that. What that means is they're being very cautious, listening and dissecting every single statement and word and translating it into what it actually really means without telling you what they think you really mean.
Catherine.
Thank you. Is the White House looking at Budapest as a possible location?
I'm not going to confirm or deny locations. We'll provide you with details as soon as we can.
Just following up on Kristen's question, I understand that the White House is working and allies are working to make this meeting happen, but did Putin promise to do a meeting with Zelensky, a direct meeting, in the coming weeks?
He has, and I just answered that question for you. Franco.
Thanks. I just want to clarify. So you are saying that President Trump is considering U.S. pilots and U.S. aircraft potentially supporting European or Ukrainian forces?
The president spoke to that himself this morning when he...
So you see her the way she's acting like, we promised to get out of these wars. I mean, y'all, they just bullshitting people. This is not what they claim is going on, is not what's going on right now. This is Trump running interference for Putin. He's been doing it the whole time, and it has had an effect on the ground. It's actually created more deaths in the Ukraine. That's what that's done. It slowed down everyone else's response, him running interference, and she's trying to string the American public along through these lines like Trump said that we won't be involved and la, la, la. No. Let me tell you, the U.S. is involved, just like the example I gave you before. If China invaded Mexico, the U.S. would be involved too, suddenly, because the U.S. would not want China being right next door to them, conquering a nation right next door to them. So this is the same dynamic. The biggest trading partner with the U.S. is the EU and Canada. They're the biggest ones. Your money is all tied together, whether you like it or not. All these companies are cross-country corporations. You are embedded with each other. And this is not something you can just get out with because one president one day says he wants to stop it. That's not how it works. It's more intertwined than that. It's deeply intertwined. And also, the U.S. has been getting the best out of that deal the whole time. That's why the U.S. is the richest country on earth. But they just don't share the money with the people. That's the problem. Very rich, don't share it all.
He called into Fox and Friends, and I would defer you to his answer. You can read it directly yourself.
In addition, can I ask, no boots on the ground, Steve Witkoff's talking about Article 5-like security guarantees. Can you talk about what other Article 5-like security?
Exactly. We're supplying Ukraine with drones and Patriot missiles. It's ridiculous. This is what they're talking about. It just... they really believe all Americans, they believe all Americans are stupid. And because MAGA has gone along with this stupid bullshit, they just continue it they're going to continue it knowing that liberals know that she's just lying, and they're going to continue it as long as MAGA people accept it. It's just that simple.
Security guarantees that are being considered if it's not boots on the ground?
These are very sensitive diplomatic discussions that are currently taking place literally as we speak. So I will leave it to the national security team, and I'll leave it to the president to have those private discussions with these leaders as we try to bring this war to an end.
And can I ask one
Mary
more?
Margaret, go ahead.
Thanks, Caroline. Two questions, if that's okay. So on these meetings, I know you said that the trilateral will take place if necessary. Do you think that we might not need the trilateral and that Zelensky and Putin might come to this conclusion on their own? And then as a follow-up, I know the president said on Fox News this morning that he's partially seeking peace in order to get to heaven. Was he joking, or is there spiritual motivation behind his peace deals here?
I think the president was serious. I think the president wants to get to heaven, as I hope we all do in this room as well. Annie.
Thanks, Caroline. I'm just shifting gears to the Department of Justice for a minute. Can you walk
As long as you're not a disabled veteran, you can laugh.
us through why another deputy FBI director was named? Does Trump have any displeasure with how the FBI has been being run to date? And then I have a question about the antitrust division.
No, Andrew Bailey is extremely qualified. As you know, he's been serving with honor as the Attorney General of Missouri, and he's been brought on as another set of very credible and experienced hands to work alongside the current Deputy Director, Dan Bongino, under the leadership of...
Dan Bongino, they're talking about these people like they're a team. These people have gone after each other all over the Epstein files. And this is the thing about this. I mean, I'm going to let it play. I'm sorry. It's just, it is gaslighting. That's what she does best.
The director, Kash Patel, and the Attorney General, Pam Bondi. And the FBI has been doing a tremendous job. We've seen their agents out on the streets as part of this interagency task force here in Washington. But the crime that they've been stopping here in Washington, they've been doing this for 7 months all across the country. In fact, there's been 19,000 arrests by the FBI nationwide. That's more than double last year in the same time period.
You have to give people a trial before you know if it's a success. You can see, and that's the thing right there. No due process is not a success. Just locking people up the wrong way is not a success. They just get back out. And what these people have done, if they've violated any state law, they're right back out.
Of those 1,600 arrests were for violent crimes against children. 4,000 child victims have been rescued by this FBI under this current leadership. 1,000 arrests from investigations of foreign terrorist organizations. There's been 1,500 kilos of fentanyl seized. 6,300 kilos of meth have been seized. And 3 of the top 10 most wanted have been arrested so far. Not a single one of the individuals on the top 10 most wanted list were arrested under the previous administration. We've arrested 3 in 7 months. So when you're actually working and enforcing law and order, you need all hands on deck. And so we look forward to welcoming Andrew Bailey to this new post. Jackie.
I have a quick question about Roger Alfred, who's a former DOJ official. He gave a speech in Aspen yesterday where he said that senior DOJ aides are cutting deals with favored lobbyists. I'm wondering if the president has any concerns at all with the way the antitrust division is working.
I have no idea who that individual is. I don't know why.
You see that? They asked her a question about goddamn crime, except it's not the crime that they want y'all to focus on. Listen again. So she doesn't have no idea about it.
Of the top 10 most wanted.
Let's listen again.
Have been
that these journalists, they're actually clever. They asked her a serious question there, but she's going to deflect.
Arrested so far. Not a single one of the individuals on the top 10 most wanted list were arrested under the previous administration. We've arrested 3 in 7 months. So when you're actually working and enforcing law and order, you need all hands on deck. And so we look forward to welcoming Andrew Bailey to this new post.
So you need all hands on deck, right? So here, what about this question?
Jackie.
I have a quick question about Roger Alfred.
Roger Alfred. Everybody Google Roger Alfred.
Who's a former DOJ official.
Former DOJ official.
He gave a speech in Aspen yesterday.
Where
he said that senior DOJ aides are cutting deals with favored lobbyists.
Senior DOJ, oh my God, are cutting deals with lobbyists? Listen to this. Oh, and listen to her answer. This good lady got some goddamn nerve. She got some serious nerve. Listen.
7 months all across the country. In fact, there's been 19,000 arrests by the FBI nationwide. That's more than double last year in the same time period. Of those, 1,600 arrests were for violent crimes against children. 4,000 child victims have been rescued by this FBI under this current leadership. 1,000 arrests from investigations of foreign terrorist organizations. There's been 1,500 kilos of fentanyl seized. 6,300 kilos of meth have been seized. And 3 of the top 10 most wanted have been arrested so far. Not a single one of the individuals on the top 10 most wanted list were arrested under the previous administration. We've arrested 3 in 7 months. So when you're actually working and enforcing law and order, you need all hands on deck. And so we look forward to welcoming Andrew Bailey to this new post.
So
Jackie.
here,
I have a quick question about Roger Alfred, who's a former DOJ official. He gave a speech in Aspen yesterday where he said that senior DOJ aides are cutting deals with favored lobbyists.
Senior DOJ officials are cutting deals with lobbyists. And what's her answer? That's a question about crime. Crime. Serious crime. Not crime a pizza delivery man can get involved with. No. Not that type of crime.
I'm wondering if the president has any
organizations. I have no idea who that individual is.
I have no idea.
In order.
I have no idea who that individual is. Everybody click the like button for Karoline.
You need all hands on deck, and so we look forward.
Question about
Got a quick question.
Roger Alfred, who's a former DOJ official. He gave a speech in Aspen yesterday where he said that senior DOJ aides are cutting deals with favored lobbyists.
Cutting deals with favored lobbyists. That's what senior DOJ officials are doing. And what did she say? I never heard of that person.
I'm wondering if the president has any concerns at all with the way the antitrust division is working.
I have no idea who that individual is. I don't know why he made those comments. I don't know what basis he's making those comments on. My instinct tells...
And hey, too bad for you. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not even interested in finding out, because we're looking for the brown and the black criminals. Not the ones that are screwing over everybody.
Tells me it's not true, but we will definitely look into them and I'll get you a response.
We never going to hear a response about that ever again. That's just going to be, you know, we know what the answer is to that. They do it, and so what? Stay out of our business.
Jackie.
Thanks, Caroline. Since the president often says this war would not have started if he were in office, and Putin confirmed that.
It's true. Do you accept that as true? The European leaders do.
Well,
and
no, they don't. That's a manipulation of their comments. The European leaders don't agree. That's something they say to juice up Trump to try to get him to help. And guess what? It does work in some small way, because the rumor is on the streets that if you kiss Trump's butt a little bit, make him feel good, he will actually give you something for it. That's what everyone is saying. So every time you see Putin really impresses him. Putin really, really talks to Trump very, very sweetly. That's why Trump gives him everything he wants. But most people that are really trying to do some real critical work don't go about their job that way. The business is more serious than that. But people have had to change and say, well, if this is what the new type of U.S. president is like, then we got to play that game. African leaders do it. EU does it. Even the Brits are doing. Everyone knows Trump to be a damn fool. And that's what they're doing. So right about now, you're liable to hear them say anything if that's all they have to say to get Trump to do some shit for their ass. I mean,
President Putin himself said that, by the way.
He did say that. The question I have, though, is what is the...
So you see, President Putin did say that, by the way. Yeah, we know he said that. That's why she asked you the question.
President going to do to ensure that these security guarantees last beyond him?
Look at the comments in the chat. Impeach and imprison the orange liar and criminal.
Into the time when...
Release the unredacted Epstein files.
He is no longer president. And does that have to involve Congress at all?
Well, he understands the need for that, which he spoke to yesterday.
Guess we playing softball. That's another comment.
And what's he going to do? It's why he's engaging in so many talks and so...
That's this year, bro. That's this year. That's happening right now. Who is this? K-Bar. Yeah, they talking about right now this year. That's what they were discussing. That got brought up. That was a question brought up in, I believe in Alaska, something like that, a comment made. But yeah, and she's saying she don't know nothing about it. She never heard of that person's name. Notice how they do that. They never, when it's something that is really going on that affects everybody, never heard that name before. I don't know. But she know all about homelessness in D.C. all of a sudden. From one day to the next, we know everything. We know everything. We don't need your help. We want to take over the police and do this. We're going to tell you how to do this. Okay.
So many conversations with both sides of this war with our European allies. It's why on the way home from Anchorage, Alaska, very late at night, when I know many of you on the press plane were sleeping and many staff were sleeping, the president himself was still awake at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Tweeting.
Talking to European leaders and NATO about how we can ensure a lasting peace and bring this conflict.
I mean, and then they're going to keep up this charade like Trump is Superman. Like, while everyone else was sleeping, too tired, Super Trump was at work constantly, as he always is. The Superman, the most strongest man on earth, I mean, this is like living in North Korea, for real.
To an end. He has expended an incredible amount of time, energy, and effort into bringing this war to an end, and he remains determined to do that.
Also,
Go ahead.
But it's not working. So, goddamn.
About the
Go ahead.
Thank you, Caroline.
DC crime.
Sure, Jake, and then to your right.
All right. Thank you, Caroline. Which of the half dozen?
Exactly. Yo, exactly. All you got to do is call Putin and say, stop it. That's the crazy part about it, you know? And it's like, nope, can't do that. No, not interested in that. No. Let's see if he can create a little more, get a little bit more of an advantage than he had before. Let's see if he can get a few more inches of land. Let's just play that game. And you know that's what they're doing. Just trying to buy more time, they're suckering the American people. They're suckering the EU. Trump has been pulled into this game and promised something. And that's what's going on. What's going on right now is not in the American people's best interest at all. It's not. It's to their detriment, actually.
Peace deals that the president's pulled off, would you say he's the most proud of? And then I have another question.
That's a good question, Jake. I'll leave that to the president to answer. I think he's proud of all of the peace deals that he's been able to achieve. You saw the president of Armenia and...
Oh, I appreciate you, George. Word. Everybody click like, please. I appreciate that, George. Thank you, bro.
The head of Azerbaijan, both at the White House just a couple of weeks ago. The president, I know, very much enjoyed spending time with them and helping to bring that conflict to an end. He very much enjoyed his time with leaders of Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of the Congo in the Oval Office, talking to them about bringing that decades-long war to an end, India and Pakistan. He used trade in a very powerful...
How come they never hear any of the feedback after he made peace? Soon as you claim they made peace, then the shit is up in smoke again, and people are like, what the hell is Trump talking about? He made peace. It's the same people she's out here quoting are people that make the exact opposite statements after. You know, initially they praise him because everybody knows you have to praise Trump if you want to get him to the table, to get anything. But they know it's not going to last. They know he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. They know it. You know, that's just the word on the grapevine, you know, and that's how people are going to treat him. And I guarantee you, it's like the Manchurian Candidate. You know, he hears the right words and it will fuck with his brain. For example, if you hated Trump and talked shit about Trump for years and years and years and years and years, and all of a sudden you have to meet him, you already got his number. All you have to do is compliment him on something that he did and make him believe that nobody else could have done that and that you respect him for it. Man, that man gonna open up all the doors for you, all the keys. That's what he does. It's what he does. And the problem is the only people that have problems with him are people that are not used to bullshitting other people. Zelensky's not that dude. He's not into, that's not what he's into. He's really up for his people. He's really up for his country. And he doesn't hate the United States of America. So it's very hard to get him to bullshit an American president, you know, but everybody knows that that's just what he's going to have to do for now until some reasonable individual becomes president again that wants to act normal or at least act better than Trump. At least be more decent than Trump. At least not have so much compromising shit on him to where he can be bought and twisted at any time. Like he is being done. He's being done like that by Putin and Netanyahu, basically. I mean, they got his number. They have his number. They can offer him something. Look, the first thing Netanyahu was supposed to do when he talked about building a hotel in Gaza was to say, no. I'm sorry. We need your help. We value your partnership. We've been allies for a long time, but we don't want the Palestinians' land. What we want with them is peace. That's all Netanyahu had to say. That's what any real leader who wanted something good to come out of that situation would say. Instead, he was like, yeah, fuck it.
Way as leverage to bring that conflict to an end. So I know he's very proud of all of these achievements, and I know he's very honored to serve as the president of the United States and to restore peace around this world. Go ahead.
So you mentioned Armenia and Azerbaijan. That's a conflict that, you know, I spent time in the Southern Caucasus covering that, and you know, a conflict of over 30 years, and he resolved it in just a couple of months. Mm-hmm. Are there other conflicts that the president's working on right now that are off the radar screen that we should be tracking?
In fact, there are many. The State Department.
Yeah, I hear you. It's the lithium. It's transactional. It's not humanitarian. It's not long term. It's transactional. And I'm sorry, but transactional things don't last. There has to be more than money to make good relations. There has to be an investment in some understood and shared values too. You see what I mean? And I'm not saying that Africans don't have that, because obviously they do, right? But the idea that Trump can come in and just make a deal based on extracting some minerals, man, come on, that's part of the problem. That's what led to the whole problem. So what's going to happen when the U.S. foreign policy changes suddenly? Is it going to be another war? All of a sudden, that's the issue. So we need more than stabilization based on who's getting access to minerals. It's okay for the moment, but it's just another, I don't know, man. But I'm gonna be honest with you. So many people have surprised me in the world when dealing with Trump. Because when you play this game to where you have to bullshit a leader, just to get a conversation with him or get what you want, the effect is a lot of people end up seeing that and watching it play out. And then nobody's thinking about what's going to happen in the future. And in the future, people are going to remember all those statements they said about Trump. And they're going to think these African leaders might be stupid like that or might not have values. Not saying that that they don't, because I believe most are like everybody else, bro. African leaders are just like European leaders, just like Western leaders, just like South American leaders, just like Asian leaders, human beings. So they just have the same similar type of issues. Some of the players are fair. Some of the players are not fair. Some of the countries are progressive. Some are a little behind. Some are, they're just, that's the dynamic, So I don't like to dehumanize them when I speak about them. But I mean, to me, it seems like transactional dealings is not all that's needed. We need to get to the point where things are sustainable, what we're doing, that the relations that we have are sustainable, that the working relationships other people have with us are sustainable, not just momentary. And it looks like Trump does a lot of things momentarily, and he's going to leave the trash later. Look at what happened in Afghanistan, for example. He pulled out, he gave a deadline, made an agreement, met with the Taliban just overnight, no talk about it or anything, met with the people that the allies fought against to give other people who want their children going to school, girls and boys who want a normal society, right? He went and talked to the people that didn't want that, gave them a promise of having power back, told them what date he was going to tell the U.S. military to leave or make a deal with them, made a deal about a certain date. And that was all they needed to take back over. And they did. And there was nothing that could be done about it. I mean, American soldiers could have been involved in another war. They could have killed a lot of people to stay there. But that would have been horrible backlash too. And again, that was a bad deal to pull out. It wasn't, it just made everything a fiasco. And I hope the same thing doesn't happen with the Congo, because people deserve peace there. Regardless of what side of the Congo they're on, or Rwanda or anything, people deserve peace, man. And these people with businesses and weapons, they can't just dictate. We shouldn't allow them to dictate the terms for our lives. It shouldn't hinge on, are you making a mineral deal in order to have peace? Because it shouldn't be, if I don't deal with you, then you're just going to sell weapons to my neighbor to attack me. People are tired of that shit.
Department is always working around the clock under the leadership of Secretary Rubio and keeping the president apprised of conflicts that are bubbling up all over the world. But of course, as you all know, as we've talked a lot about in this briefing,
I hear you, Blood Rain.
He's spending a lot of time right now on ending this war in Russia-Ukraine, and of course the conflict in Israel and Gaza, which he wants to see come to a close as well. Sure, go ahead.
So the president says that he's starting a movement to eliminate mail-in voting, but...
Right, so here's the mail-in voting question, y'all. So let's listen up.
states administer elections, not federal authorities. So can you provide any more details about how the White House plans to eliminate that?
The White House continues to work on this, and when Congress comes back to Washington, I'm sure there will be many discussions with our friends on Capitol Hill and also our friends in state legislatures across the country to ensure that we're protecting the integrity of the vote for the American people. And I think Republicans generally, and the president generally, wants to make it easier for Americans to vote and harder for people to cheat in our elections. And it's quite mind-boggling that the Democrat Party could stand in opposition to common sense. But of course, as you all know, as we've talked a lot about in this briefing, he's spending a lot of time right now on ending this war in Russia-Ukraine, and of course the conflict in Israel and Gaza, which he wants to see come to a close.
I want to hear her comment again. She's so fast at talking, it sounded like she just went around the whole question.
As well. Sure, go ahead.
So the president said that he's starting a movement to eliminate mail-in voting, but
he's going to start a movement to eliminate mail-in voting, but
states administer elections, not federal authorities. So can you provide any more details?
Yeah, but state elections are not under the federal authorities, right? So can you
about how the White House plans to eliminate that?
Yeah, so can you tell us how the White House plans to go about that?
The White House continues to work on this, and when Congress comes back to Washington, I'm sure there will be many discussions with our friends on Capitol Hill and also our friends in state legislatures across the country to ensure that we're protecting the integrity of the vote for the American people. And I think Republicans generally, and the president generally, wants to make it easier for Americans to vote and harder for people to cheat in our elections.
So, service members, people that work for the U.S. government, if you happen to be outside of the U.S. doing your job, you won't be able to vote. You will have to stop your job, come back to the U.S. and vote, because that is mail-in voting. Basically, that's what that is. They're the biggest part of mail-in voting. So that's the most ridiculous part about it. And for them to not even clarify, just to act like they want to eliminate it and not realize that that's affecting all the people that are protecting your country, that active duty soldiers, that, folks, y'all, this is just bullshit. It's just bullshit. You can't make broad statements like that and expect that people don't want to have a concern about what the hell you mean. You know, you can't just come into areas that affect broad groups of people and then not explain or take their concerns seriously. And they're not taking the concerns seriously. They're acting like, oh, you're just overreacting. You don't know what you're talking about. Again, this is the next time you say something is not right. These are the same people that tried to run up on January 6th and stop the election. And now Trump, because of the Epstein files and other things, right, him enriching himself to the hilt, right? He's going there. You know, the Republicans are they're going to suffer in this next upcoming election because they cut Medicaid, they cut natural disaster FEMA funds. They know that they're going to lose, and lo and behold, now he wants to just, what a coincidence, cut mail-in voting. You see, so she's just standing up there lying, Karoline. And it's a pathetic that we got a woman with a cross, but everybody doesn't really believe in Christianity anyway that wears a cross. So, hey, that's not that deep of a story, but it does kind of underscore what is going on with this kind of what do you call it? Fusion of right-wing nationalism, you know, pseudo-Christians. Basically, this thing where women don't have rights, where, you know, women got to stand by their man. They come in number two. They have faith in their men. You know, you can't have an abortion, these kind of things. The society, although the country was built by many different groups of ethnicities, the one that really only is supposed to be acknowledged is the one that wasn't even really there, you know, because Trump's his family wasn't even around. Trump's family wasn't even around. The Heritage founders, the three founders of the Heritage, the Heritage Foundation, right? They weren't really around. Only one of them has half of his family that actually goes back to the Civil War, close to the Civil War. The rest of them don't, you know? This is just people scamming, pretending like they're real Americans, playing poor Americans. That's what this is. And I don't want to hear any more of her bullshit. I'm sorry, y'all. You want me to keep playing this stuff? Because I'm going to be back later on in a couple of hours anyway with the real cast. I just wanted to step in and see if she had anything different to say. I wanted to see if they were going to ask her about the how the media responded to her in Alaska. The media said that, she was not looking well. Like, she seemed shocked after witnessing something. So I was hoping they were going to ask her about that, but let me play it a little more.
And it's quite mind-boggling that the Democrat Party could stand in opposition to common sense. He wants to ensure election integrity. There were great efforts that were made in 2024. I won't get ahead of myself for Hatch Act reasons to get ahead for the next election, but I can assure you this is a priority for the president. Go ahead.
If I could just follow up on your comments about Gaza.
Sure.
There was a ceasefire proposal put forward by both Qatar and Egypt. Hamas accepted it on Monday. Israel has yet to officially weigh in. I'm wondering if the U.S. was at all involved in it.
I mean, Hamas has been accepting all the ceasefires. You know, basically they accepted the Joe Biden ceasefire when he left out of office. And, you know, it's been this way. Everybody's always waiting for someone else to accept it. And, yeah, they've been accepting that ceasefire, trying to get a ceasefire for a long time. And these people want to kill them and eradicate them from Gaza. That's just really what it is. That's my opinion. Now, I have that opinion. So the world is watching. No one's going to do anything about it. And I hope Palestinians save their lives. No one's coming to save you. You know, save your lives. Like, really, you know, and understand that's how cruel this world is. This world is cruel. And I'm not saying that there's not beef on both sides or whatever, but I'm just saying at some point, you just got to understand when someone is a clear winner and someone is a clear loser, and just let it be. Like, you don't have to go after kids, you know?
If it's supportive of it, and whether or not the president believes Israel should accept it.
I don't think it's a coincidence that Hamas accepted this proposal after the President of the United States posted a very strong statement about this conflict on Truth Social yesterday. I would refer you...
No, that's bullshit. You know, they had accepted a ceasefire before. Trump had tried to threaten them coming out of the Biden one, and they said no. You know, so they're not making their decisions based on threats. Come on, that makes no sense. Hamas wouldn't even exist after all of this time if they were making decisions based on how much power you have and your threats. You know, again, this is what she's telling the American people. I'm sorry, they're not strong. They're not that strong of a power. They are a nuisance to Israel. They are a threat to some degree. But damn, you know, she is like mischaracterizing them. These people have their own views and they have their own beliefs. And whether you kill 1 million of them, they still have them. They still have them. Same thing with the Israelis. I mean, 1 million haven't been killed yet, but it's very clear when you're dealing with Hamas and them, you kill people, that's not changing their opinion about you. You know, the problem is something else. You know, and until people try to address the other problem, it ain't going to change. It's just going to keep on going on, and you might get Gaza, but you won't get peace.
Back to that statement. As for this proposal that Hamas has now accepted, the United States continues to discuss it, and I'll let the president weigh in on it definitively. You're welcome. Sure.
Caroline, can you describe the president's perspective on taking a stake in Intel in exchange for federal grants? And is this are we expecting?
You see that?
To see the White House make similar arrangements with other semiconductor companies and manufacturing companies?
Well, the president, he's been very clear about the need to reshore manufacturing that's critical to our national and economic security. That is especially in regards to chips and semiconductors, which is why the president has initiated the Commerce Department to conduct a study on semiconductors, a Section 232 investigation, so we can ultimately implement tariffs. And it's why our export license requirements remain in place as well. As for this 10% government stake deal, the Department of Commerce continues to work on it. I know Secretary Lutnick is working on it and ironing out the details, but the president wants to put America's needs first, both from a national security and economic perspective. And it's a creative idea that has never been done before to ensure that we're both reshoring these critical supply chains while also gaining something of it for the American taxpayer. You're welcome. Emily.
Thanks. Caroline. I wanted to ask about the 3 U.S. warships that are being sent to Venezuela, and there's 4,000 Marines on board. Are you looking at possibility of boots on the ground there?
Do you hear the question? So we getting out of more wars, huh? We getting out of more wars? I mean, her answer is going to be like, that is the stupidest question ever. And only someone from a liberal newspaper could even ask that question.
Critical supply chains, while also...
I wanted to ask about the 3 U.S. warships that are being sent to Venezuela, and there's 4,000 Marines on board. Are you looking
3 U.S. warships being sent to Venezuela with how many Marines on board?
about the 3 U.S. warships that are being sent to Venezuela, and there's 4,000 Marines on board?
With 4,000 Marines on board. Does that sound like you coming out of a war? You getting out of wars?
Or are you looking at possibility of boots on the ground there?
What I will say with respect to Venezuela, President Trump has been very clear and consistent. He's prepared to use every element of American power to stop drugs from flooding into our country and to bring those responsible to justice. The Maduro regime is not the legitimate government of Venezuela. It is a narco-terror cartel. In Maduro, it is the view of this administration, is not a legitimate president. He is a fugitive head of this cartel who has been indicted in the United States for trafficking drugs into the country. And with that, I will leave you all, and we will see you later, if not tomorrow, and I look forward to taking more of your questions. Thank you.
So, not going to war with China, got a fentanyl problem, but going to war with Venezuela. But this is interesting because Venezuela also have strong ties with Putin, or I don't know how strong the ties are, but they have some cooperation with Putin. But what comes in my mind first, I'm about to go, y'all. I'll be back in a little bit. But what comes to my mind is like this pity pat game that superpowers play with other countries. You know, Putin's, supports one. Then all of a sudden, the United States comes in there. Is Putin going to be able to protect him? Look, and Putin supports Iran. But when the U.S. bombs Iran, what does Putin do? You see, there's something else going on that has nothing to do with trying to help people or resolve issues. It's something else going on. And I'm not just saying that about Trump. But I think that's been what Russia's been about for a long time. Like, they're willing to arm people. They're willing to help you get into mischief, but they're never there to save your ass. And that's been the story of Hamas. It's been the story of Iran, been a story of Hezbollah, and people need to find a new way to, I think, not give countries that sell weapons so much prominence in your life. And the only way you can do that is by making peace with your neighbors. Make peace with your neighbors. Try to do the right thing by your people and your neighbors' people peacefully and willingly, because there are certain types that are only into selling weapons and watching the world go to hell. And it doesn't matter how many of you die, and you just best believe. I'm not saying all super economies are that way or superpowers are that way, but I'm just saying it's worth taking a look at what I'm saying about it. So, but in any case, folks, I'll be back with y'all. I appreciate everybody for showing up and supporting a brother coming out to keep it interesting. And I appreciate some of the comments in the chat as well. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. These are strange times. I'll be back tonight on the regular program, and we're going to get it going again. I'm sure there's a lot of up-to-date news. I just wanted to catch Karoline talk her shit. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Caroline, I don't believe your ass, okay? Just understand that. I don't. I believe you full of shit. So, but in any case, y'all, peace. I'll get back with y'all in a little bit. Everybody have a good rest of your day. Hey, yo, by the way, my shop is up. So go check out some of the gear on the YouTube page. But also, I'm going to leave y'all out on a different track. I know I usually play War, but it's from my LP, Love and Madness. So you can check that out on Spotify, YouTube, all the streaming platforms, Love and Madness, and under the name Empirical. So check it out. But I'm going to leave y'all with this one. Y'all be good. I'll see y'all in a few. Peace.
I know how to see a whack MC when he bustin', but I just back away real cool, no fussin'. I'd rather go kicking in the streets with the bums and use the knowledge to collect what? Some funds. Open a non-profit and build a damn school. And this is the story of how a great king rules. There's many that claim to know the local demographic, but don't have the nerve to tell you the truth. It's tragic, but I do, so sit back and let me spit this shit to you. You feel better when I spit this shit to you, despite the system trying to clamp down on the people. People will learn how to stand up to evil. Not evil that's across the globe, that's too far. But evil that lies in their own backyard. And fighting, it's not an option, they can't win. The government, it's not supposed to represent sin. But then again they do, and that's a problem. So let's go down and figure out how to solve them. It's not fun being a rapper that can't speak, but we do, yes, and plus we make fat beats. Yo, we smoke weed, break up trees. Listen, bringing fat beats, that is our mission. You wanted to see us, homeboy, shut up and listen. Thelonious and Big Bennett, brother, check the vision. Mentalities of different realities. Enter the Star Trek room when you hear the boom. I be the Walkman with the super bass. Automatic stop, yes, stereo cassette player.